Gentlemen, start your engines.
Power was standing right next to the car when the engine blew up. One of his pit crew was fueling the vehicle before copping the full force of the explosion in the face.
Idea was, let's not use the chicane at all, but they found out right away. Look at Simon Pagno, nearly 2 feet in the air as he crossed those railroad tracks. It just shot a shockwave up his back. The drivers talked about it. They stopped the session, and for the afternoon they decided we're going to have to do some grinding and put up some tires to have a makeshift chicane to see if we can get Slowed Wally over those railroad tracks.
Basically, I had spun, and it was just a simple little spin. I was sitting there, and I was on the radio to the guys telling them the car was okay. I was just waiting, and Max came around the turn, and I watched him all the way.
Yesterday in practice, Walter Salles of Brazil was a slow car that Gilles de Ferran crashed into. Neither driver hurt.
Very bumpy. We got an electronic issue. I didn't do something with the battery box, did I? All right, Lee, so here we are. We're exiting turn 2. This is not what I expected with the GoPro course preview. Now, if I can get this guy to actually do the racing line, we might make it around the hairpin.
Gaston Mazzacani, meantime, has had a problem already. He's gotten into the wall on the warm-up lap and knocked the front wing, and it looks like he's knocked as well the left front corner off of car number 19. So one of the Dale Coyne cars will not make the green today as we take another look. Looks like he might have gassed it on cold tires and turned right into the outside retaining wall.
Jimmy Vasser, who has won 3 of the first 5 races of the season and is the points leader coming into this race, will bring the field up to speed, and we have a crash in turn 4. A crash approaching the green flag, and many cars are involved. Let's take another look, Scott.
Well, it looks like Jimmy Vasser on the pole position just turned right. Now, I would say something must have went wrong with the car, because if he got on the gas too soon on cold tires, usually the car would go to the inside like we've seen before numerous times, and this just turned right. So we're not quite sure why that is. The guys are going evenly side by side, and a little bit of acceleration will come up here very shortly. I would say those 2 cars between Fernandez and Vasser are very close, very close. The left front wheel of Fernandez was hooking on the inside of Jimmy Vasser's right rear, and I would say those guys were probably just a little bit too close for the start.
It's going to be a very interesting start, Danny.
Well, it is. They got that long straightaway to get up to speed down into a tight corner, only 100 miles an hour. Oh, there's already an accident. Parker Johnstone. Oh, we're going to get a yellow.
All eyes are on racing's greatest prize.
We've got an accident on the main straightaway. Kevin Cogan is against the wall.
Cogan's car suddenly veers out of control and hits Foyt. With nowhere to go, Andretti spears Cogan's machine. The race is stopped, and the blame game starts.
A bit of moisture on the camera as they come around, and oh, look at this. This is a spun pace car. Well, indeed. I think I'm afraid I do not know who is the pace car driver, but let's see if we can get a shot. Oh, he's smiling, but I think is going to be very embarrassed.
The car on your left-hand side will not get off the grid.
He didn't even move.
Saavedra. Everybody else is starting to go around him. Now the car coming from the back doesn't see him. And that first car that hits him is Carlos Munoz. And then from then on, the debris is flying.
I think Montoya just stalled back there too.
But at that short time span, Eddie, it's just about impossible.
Hunter Ray did an exceptional job missing him. And Munoz is the one that decided to change lane from the right to left.
Yes.
And when he did that, he blocked the view of the cars behind him, and they found themselves with a stopped car in the middle.
On the pole is Peter Revson. The blue car next to him is Mark Donohue, and Bobby Unser on the outside. The green flag is out. They're underway. Going into turn 1. Oh, look at the guy. The pace car has crashed into a photographer's stand. Mark Donohue has taken the lead. We're on the race. We can't see what has happened down there. The pace car, out of control, crashed into a photographer's stand. People fell out as if a corn crib had been opened, just tumbling down on the track. Not a professional race driver.
Well, I don't know. I think the pace car must have been coming through the pit lane much too quick, Jim, and it seemed that he wasn't paying attention to where he was. I mean, an enormous amount of debris down there.
Towards the
grass, still going down to turn 1, and here we go.
Hang on.
Hangs on to it. Man, that guy gets a Star Award, Rusty.
This is like a steeplejack in a horse race. This is the railway line. They'll go across 2 places on the racetrack, and this is punishment for the racing cars and the drivers inside. I mean, that is just unreal, particularly if you focus on the rear wing.
You cannot run side by side through the corner with both cars.
Contact! Whoa, he saves it! Unbelievable!
Keep going, keep going.
Jamie Cameron can't get up to speed. Simmons keeps his foot in it, saves the race car.
Side by side, Sullivan has the lead. Danny Sullivan of Kentucky. And just at that moment, losing control of the car, doing a magnificent job of not hitting the wall and continuing in the race. It's unbelievable.
The incredible move maybe ever in Indianapolis, and Mario didn't hit him.
Imagine going 208 miles an hour, paying attention to what's happening behind you, in front of you, and you got a face full of sparks coming off the cars in front of you.
It was reported that Cal Wells told Serbia over the radio after the accident that his services were no longer required for next year. Yeah, fired during the race.
Max Chilton cutting the corner. Well, I think it's at least 3 times. Let's watch him here on Connor Daly. I'm just going to... That's like clever. I mean, I can't
fault do that in qualifying if it's allowed, because it's way faster. So I can't see how the series is allowing
But how do you know that the series hasn't seen that yet? Maybe that's the first time anybody's tried it. Yeah, I know.
I've seen it. I've seen it
for the
3
first
times
time.
already.
But listen, maybe they've lost their chance to make that warning. And we understand from race control that they've informed him that he can no longer exploit turn 5 like he has been.
He came in early in the race because the fire extinguisher went off in the cockpit. They thought they had it fixed and cleaned up. He came back in a lap later because it was still going off. They got that problem rectified, sent him back out, and the radio button came off on the next lap. All things, though, are good now. He says the car is running great.
That's a disappointment. That's the air hose that goes into the jack system that helps lift the car up off the ground. Spoke to him in the driver's meeting. He said, I think we're going real well this weekend, maybe a top 10. It's not going to happen for them now.
And Salazar then Fittipaldi.
Flew the base car right off.
No, that
He's
can't be right.
Can't do that. Base car was too slow, Paul. He needed to get a run.
But they gave him the green flag anyway. Dwayne Sweeney is waving the green flag. Goodyear got a run on the pace car. They're going to show the black flag to the leader of the race. Stop and go penalty because he passed the pace car before the green.
Outside.
They took Price. They keep it under control. Oh, that's unbelievable. Phenomenal damage to the right front wing on Rice's car.
Below the white line on entry, and he came. Oh my God, that was close.
Wow, what a save. What a save from Rossi.
The 10 car is Scheckter, and the 9 car is Dixon. Scheckter up high, and Barron through turn number 3, touch wheels. Scheckter keeps it off the wall, Barron spins, but not only does he not hit anything, he gets the car going in the right direction, crosses a line, and doesn't lose a lap. And the crowd went wild.
You're riding along with the number 26. Oh, look at that.
Wow.
Whoa. That was Weldon almost collecting 2 cars that were slowing down.
Piggott with a run. Gets up the inside, but really not all the way up the inside. I'm not sure that DeMello knew he was there.
Big fire.
Tire back of the car is consumed.
Pull into a place.
Jim McGee telling him to try and find a...
Don't even wait for a place. Get out.
That's
Is this the last time? Is this the last restart? We'll find out.
Look at this pack now! What was going on in the back there? There were 10 wide.
How was that? 7, 8 abreast?
I have no idea what was going on with that second group.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can't quite get to 8, Lee.
And the winning number is? And the supplementary is?
I'll go 7 with a possible 8. Look at that.
Can you imagine if that's what our finish is like? If there's a green-white checker. Oh. It's possible.
And the 79th running of the Indy 500 is underway as Scott Goodyear sweeps across the outside and into the lead. Ari Lyondike ducks into second place. And we Weber. The other looked to be Stan Fox. And the front end of one car cut away. The rest of the field slows. This is regular speed. Now look back in the field. See, looked like Cheever was right down on the grass as Fox and Cheever got together, and then everybody else involved.
The car is certainly destroyed, but you can see Mike moving inside the car. He's going on the inside of Ryan Hunter-Reay. This reminds me almost of Dan Weldon's crash here in turn 3 and 4 quite a few years ago.
That won't be something that Brian Beinhardt... Wow!
Yep. And Weldon upside down.
And the car is up into the fence, which is almost reminiscent of Kenny Brack's accident at Texas quite a few years ago, guys.
Here is the replay of what happened. Breck on the high side of Thomas Schechter down the backstretch. At the end of the backstretch, there's the contact, and Breck's car up into the wall, virtually splitting in half. And here is the shot now from the end of the backstretch. It's a crash very reminiscent of Davey Hamilton's accident here a few years ago, in which he sustained very severe leg damage.
Well, they're taking... contact was made between Schrader and Sarah Fisher back there. She just kind of ran over some stuff, but Schrader and Hamilton...
You know, he was incredibly lucky that he did not go head into that fence. That is a horrible impact. Wow.
Sebastian Bourdais also trying to make a move. Right now it's Rossi the leader, then it's Power. Wickens, they're going to make contact. Big contact, car in the air. It's Robert Wickens that spins. Ryan Hunter-Reay was just underneath him. James Hinchcliffe involved. We have a major mess here exiting turn number 2 at the Pocono Raceway.
And here's the situation. Briscoe going underneath. Barron trying to come down on the racetrack. They both are going for the same piece of real estate.
He's already way off the line. He's off the dark patch of the racetrack, which we call the racing line. He's up in the gray. He's lost control of the car. He's hoping he's not going to hit the wall. He impacts the wall, comes off the wall, just misses the 10 of Tony Kanaan. Unfortunately, Scott Dixon is right there, up and over the front of the car. Car hits on the top of the wall. The safety cell on these cars, guys, I can't tell you how strong they are. An awful accident, but as we saw, Scott Dixon right there, hands away from the steering wheel. We saw him get out, and when we first went to this frame, when we first saw this accident, you heard some roar from the crowd, and that was because they knew that Scott Dixon was okay, and the 77 of Jay Howard was also okay.
High, slightly out of the groove, and right there, he impacts the wall and starts toward the inside of the track. Spinning backwards, this may have saved his life, that he hit backwards when he hit really hard for the first time. Now, of course, he impacts the end of the pit wall. And now sliding across to the inside of the pit wall. The newly resurfaced pit lane there.
Greenfield rookie.
When I grazed a wall, the right rear suspension collapsed, the lower right rear wishbone collapsed, and so the car basically at that point just had rear wheel steer, and it just turned left. And from then on, I was just hanging on, and it was just boom, bang, and the next thing I know, I'm stopped in the pit lane and was begging for him to hit me, with a hammer, knock me out, or do something. I mean, it's definitely one of the most unpleasant things I've ever had, obviously.
Willpower on warm, soft reds. Hunter-Reay to the inside.
Inside. 3 of them get taken out.
Oh!
Can you believe what you've just seen?
Castro Neves contact. Newgarden, Hinch, there goes Sato. They're plowing in. The track is blocked.
Nightmare. This is a nightmare. The track is almost blocked.
I think he was paying attention to going in deep to keep Greg Moore behind him, and just you could tell he was in trouble early.
Oh, look at this.
Oh, my goodness.
Alex Barron right up on top of poor Brian Herta.
You saw Herta pull his hands in.
Boy, lost it way early. That almost definitely confirms that Danny saw. What's this? What's this?
There's Nigel Mansell under. Unbelievable.
Nigel Mansell and Dennis Vitolo.
And I believe Mel is just about to get out of the car. We have had about 3 cars. Now we've got a fourth end of the wall. Has crashed. 2 more have crashed.
And Greg Moore has done it. There he is, the 1995 champion. And a huge crash. Trevor Siebert is end over end on the front straightaway as they come toward the checkered flag.
Okay, through the kink on the back straightaway. 2 cars in front of him. Slips inside. He taps PJ, trying to pass him. Look at that. And he lands upside down on the track, rolling again, tumbling. Look at that. What a ride through that. Oh. That is unbelievable. And is that not a testament to the safety of these cars that this guy's looking to get out of there?
Another look from overhead.
Now that was Zanardi and J.J. Lado, and they touched and took off J.J. Lado's wing. And look at Michael come. Oh, unbelievable.
So that action took place ahead of the knot of 3 cars as Michael tried to shoot the gap between P.J. Jones and another car in real time. The violence of that crash is unbelievable.
It's going to be close as we look at the battle with Catherine Legg, Royal Surf.
Oh my goodness!
Oh my God! Massive accident. Oh my God! That is the motor. A car. The tub landed upside down.
That is the kink.
I don't know who that is.
Well, course yellow. We don't know who that is right now, but that is the fastest part of the track.
This is the kink. Now she's back. She's already around, and she hits the wall with phenomenal force. The car flies up in the air, catches the fence a bit. The motor breaks off as she comes back down, and the tub continues to go. As the gearbox and the rear tires up in the air there, as the tub barrel rolls down the outside of the track there. Incredibly scary shunt there. We're all fingers crossed, praying now for Catherine's safety. Hopefully she's all right.
This is at regular speed. Watch that car. Boy, oh boy,
I'm telling you, I'm sitting up here and having been in that position before. That really hurts.
So once again, at the line, 8 laps will remain in the MoveThatBlock.com Indy 225 here at the Magic Mile. Will it be magic for Oriole Servia? Will it be magic for... Oh, we got a spin. Danica Patrick has spun. The 12 of Will Power is spun. The 5 of Takuma Sato is involved. The $67 General car is involved. The same for the 24. And Davey, gotta wonder about the moisture there as they got on the fuel, on the gas, and Oriole Servia, it looks like is out in front, but Davey, the car started spinning before they got to the start-finish line.
Target fastest lap of the race. Here's what Townsend Bell was talking about. Whoa, you're not kidding. Run for cover. Here comes Townsend.
Dixon's car is stopped right in the middle of the racetrack.
Warming up the tires, Bob, and actually went down a gear, getting ready to accelerate to warm the rear tires up, and just clipped the wall with that left rear. And as he spun past us in the broadcast booth, that left rear was actually hanging out. There he goes right there, broke the left rear. And then he just ends up losing the contact with the patch on the road, and now all of a sudden he's a passenger.
Mario.
Here we go with 28 laps to go.
Oh, it's accordion. It's accordion. What's going on? I have never seen. You know what? That falls on willpower. That is a ridiculous speed to bring the field down for the start. Yeah, that is crazy.
Sorry, Alan. Totally uncalled for.
Ed Jones is not real happy when the pace car got out of the way. We're on board with Sorales.
Oh, that is a close call. What happened there?
You see the safety team is there with the pace car and its occupants. They're going to try and motion the field around, although I think most of the drivers have shut the engines off by now. Watch this. Just bizarre.
It's like he wasn't expecting to see the two-seater there.
The damage not just limited to IndyCar. There's your sweeper. He lost it in the sweeper. And they had to turn that thing back over. Luckily, we understand that driver was all right.
Here's the pace car coming out, and right in front of him is where the Carlson crash is. He collects a race car.
I don't know who's driving the pace car tonight.
Those big tire stacks you have to be careful of. As a red flag comes out, which is strange. That's either for dirt on the track.
people out past the fence, close to the track, which is not very bright.
This is the accordion effect. Well, something happened. Look at well, Power was slowing up to get his tires warm. Hildebrand wasn't watching where he was going.
Oh my goodness! Right over the top of Power's car.
Is Will Power's car okay? That's what I'm wondering.
Here it is from Will's view.
Excuse me. Pardon me. The heck?
That situation erupts. It's on the backside of the course. There you see the safety truck and Jeff Andretti trying to get down inside. He comes in contact with the safety truck across in front and hits Prappas. T-boned him as they were going opposite sides of the safety truck, and there are two heavily damaged cars. Hopefully the drivers are all right. We did see Jeff Andretti moving around in the cockpit, and Ted Prappas is out of his machine as well.
Is getting out. He'll have to make the mandatory trip to the infield care center. And I think we'll apologize
and
for
actually,
the gesture.
yes, and that is a fine, and probably a fine times two, actually, since he was coordinated enough to do it with both hands.
Esteban Guerrieri in car number 7 during that commercial break.
Absolutely unbelievable. I can't believe we've seen that happen. And what he did, Mike, is he had a 5-second lead, basically, or just almost a 5-second lead, and he still makes mistakes. We've seen him do it at Long Beach. We've seen him do it at Levertide. The kid is so fast, so fast.
It looks like something might have happened coming off the hairpin, because two guys, Tagliani and Hunter Ray, got around Marquez on that. Oh! Whoa! Oh, well, now he has damage. The way they do these tow ropes is they loop him through, and the driver has to hold on to it. And when he let go, it wrapped around the front end and tore the... I have never seen that happen.
I haven't either. 2 straight races. Oh, there it goes. The 3rd time this season, the 3rd straight race in which a wheel has come off a different race car. It happened on the Monterey Peninsula at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. It happened 2 weeks ago at Portland. First it was Paul Tracy, then it was Kenny Brack, now Christian Fittipaldi. And more action in the hairpin once again. Oh, fully blocked now. Self-park or valet, sir? Now we saw this several times in this morning's practice.
Well, what happens here is if one of them tries to go around the outside, they don't have enough turning ratio to get out there, and they've got to stop.
Oh, this is embarrassing. There goes Max Pappas. We have a full course caution now. If you drive through that, are you passing under the caution? Christian Fittipaldi has crashed out in turn 10, gets out of his car with cars coming on at top speed under braking. Man,
that's not the way you want to jump out. Right there on the last lap.
Especially with a brace on your leg.
Looks like Max is just going to load up and go to Toronto from here.
Just park here in the shade.
I like it.
Gonna get another one. Yeah, we're gonna pick up again. Oh, we're gonna have guys. Bender had the car in reverse, I think, when they fired the starter. It knocked the safety worker over.
It's another look. You see, he was riding the car off of the wall. A member of the kart safety team, and then fell to the ground, and the right front wheel trapped his legs under him. Wow.
The good thing is that he's able to run. Number 32 is one of those cars, Oriol Servia, on the right-hand side there. Oh, and this is all a little bit unnecessary, particularly when they've both survived a very, very scary accident.
Yeah, that was a very strange reaction there. And clearly, that's incidents like that are going to happen here, and he's well out of line there. That's most uncalled for, very unprofessional.
This has not been a good weekend for Sebastian. Here's overshooting the turn 1 braking zone. He does a nice little donut, clean and tidy to get it spun around. Now he's going to rejoin the course, but he floors it here. He gets over on the marbles offline and just augers straight on into the wall.
This is turn 4. The driver is Patrick Carpentier. Look at him catch the lip of the edge of the gravel trap. Goes airborne, literally bounces off the tire barrier and pirouettes over the wall.
Down into turn 3.
There's a contact. And see, Paul won't know it's there. Right now, Paul doesn't know that he's pushing a wing because you can't see over the nose of the car. You can see the tops of the tires, but you can't see in front. So Paul Tracy is pushing as hard as he can, and unfortunately, this front wing is probably He has 2 more corners to go. It's going to get under the front wheel, and man, did it see. Now he'll start to say, what the heck is in front of my car? Blammo!
He locked up the brakes but had no steering. I'm guessing the left front wasn't in contact with the pavement there.
You saw sparks, which means that the wing actually got underneath the car and lifted it off of the road. As soon as you saw sparks, you knew it would no longer be contacting, and that was a huge hit for Paul Tracy. You'd see at that point, it's underneath the tires. It's lifted the car.
Oh, big air for Tristan
goodness.
Gomendy.
Wow.
Gomendy nearly went end for end in the pay-by-touch 22 car.
And I would suspect you're going to have to run, Gary, because you're going to be in there fairly quickly. Brett picks up the lead. Oh, and Zanardi, with a terrible crash. Yellow is out.
Buddy Rice. All right, buddy.
Whoa, he's in trouble. He's in trouble. Coming off 2. He hasn't hit anything yet.
That is the best piece of backwards driving I think I've ever seen in my life. That's all just over 200 miles an hour slowing that thing down. He's probably still doing the speed limit now, about 60.
Didn't touch a thing, but boy, what a slide that was.
Keep the head of the driver steady and in place. You'll see it here flip out to the left.
Boy, there's just so much going on, guys. Oh, I can't believe he got through there. She was just actually herself coming out onto the racetrack and trying to get back up to speed.
Going into tonight's race.
Or something. And we're going to slow it down here. Slow it down. We're going to slow it down. Watch what happens. Slow it down. There's Bourdais' helmet right in the middle, right under there. Now Tracy's right side of Tracy's side pod is just balanced on the roll bar. That's probably what saved Sebastian Bourdais from what we believe could have been serious injury. But what a roller coaster ride for Paul Tracy.
What a frightening incident shortly after 2 o'clock local time on Friday during what they call Fast Friday practice.
Just 2 minutes before the end of practice. The Andrettis survive another roller coaster ride at Indy.
We've got a car up against the wall at this stage, which I believe is Getter's. And then this was Philippe Giaffone. I can't see what caused the first incident. And then it appears that possibly, like you said, Gary, there was debris on the racetrack because those cars went straight up to the wall. It's not like somebody slowed in front of you and you hit the brakes. It just looked as though the first car lost it on his own, but maybe something fell off his car.
Or if somebody oiled down, if somebody caught an oil line or something.
Yeah, you see these cars are just losing control on their own, Naoki Hattori. And then you see another car in the background. Yes, you can see that would be Dare. The back of the cars are all just stepping out. Possibly, like you said, an oil leak or something, because these guys just really didn't have any way to anticipate what was going to happen there.
Those are 2 different sections of pavement that are joined with the sealer, and sometimes on old tires, when you hit that, it'll get a little wiggle in your car, and when you're on used rubbers, sometimes that could be the difference to flick you sideways. But one thing Connor's going to learn is when you get that sideways, it can hook on you. You know, if you're that sideways, you almost got to jump on the brakes because
Rossi was that sideways for 10 laps just about. So, I mean, he was the last guy that was still out there on old tires and hadn't pitted yet. Hinchcliffe,
in a way,
and him have not pitted yet. So,
in a way, having Newgarden's car there probably dampened Connor Daly's impact tremendously. Well, it probably saved him from a huge frontal impact.
Absolutely. You see the car come up off the ground when it was being pushed into the wall by...
And he does a magnificent job of saving that car, and then all of a sudden air got underneath it and lifted it up into the air, as you saw, like an airplane. Unfortunately, Pancho is one lucky fellow. The good Lord was on his side, because that's unusual to wipe off a roll bar and not get hurt, and it's a real blessing that he had a good helmet on.
It really was. The helmet had 3 holes rubbed in it, almost to the styrofoam, but Pancho Corner was okay from that accident.
But you were limping somewhat. I mean, where do you have some injuries?
Oh, I just banged my knee. When you get thrown around in the car upside down, you bang your legs on the bulkhead and on the steering column and stuff. So just a bit of bruising, which won't look too attractive in my dress in the Atlantic's banquet tonight. But.
And we've got more than one car in trouble there.
Look at this. They blocked the track. Somebody stopped their push.
And they're trying to look at it, gets a help because
Rahal pushed him. He pushed him out of the way. Robbie couldn't get going and he pushed him out of the way. Look, there's Christian Fittipaldi. He stopped too. He's waving, hey, I'm stopped here. They're coming in the same corner. It's all jammed up. Look, they're trying to get a gear. Robbie can't get a gear. So Bobby's like, come on, you gotta go, you gotta go. So he just pushes him. Oh my, way to go.
But that is some luck for both drivers, and nobody was seriously hurt.
Yeah, look at this view. Look at Vitor come up and over Marco.
And then they just go parallel park on the wall beside each other.
I mean, he just screwed up. He misjudged. He chopped into another car, and it sent him underneath an Armco guardrail and about ripped his feet off.
There's the water. We talked about this earlier. You've got to come across absolutely straight. He wasn't going that fast. He probably looks like he just spun the rear tires. 900 horsepower. It's pretty easy to do, even in 6th gear.
It's a Penske.
Oh, no! Oh, my goodness, how did that happen? The yellow had been out for some time.
It looks like, we don't really see the first part of that, but this next accident happens a lot later, so it obviously was yellow already. So maybe Barbosa slowed down, and Makshantsev didn't see that coming, and then went over the back of him. That
Here's
could be
another
one of those
angle.
incidents.
Here's another angle from outside as the cars approach turn number 4. And Ali Jackson, big contact, and it looked like, as you mentioned, Makshantsev, it appeared he climbed up and over the rear tires of Barbosa, as perhaps Barbosa saw the incident.
He just lost it all on his own, cold tires.
That was a big move from Newgarden, and boy, Will Power is lucky.
There's Dennis, loses it under power. Now he does a 180, now he gets it back straight again. Looks as if it's clear. But remember, John Andretti's doing 160 miles an hour, has nowhere to go. You know that John Andretti's helmet hit the rear tire of Dennis Vitolo.
I'm so very surprised that John was not hurt. Let's go to Gary.
Oh, we're looking at the helmet of John Andretti. You can see the rubber mark here on the left side right across the top. That's how close it was.
Big visibility issues at the start of the race, which may have led to the pileup in turn number 1. Mario Moraes coming in hot up over the top of Marco Andretti, knocking him out, now we know, 2 years in a row.
All right, you're clear 3.
Got Zach Veach is squeezing him. He was all over the curb and just tried to ride the curb out. Look at Marco's car goes over the top.
But he was able to continue from that incident. 11 minutes later, he did the same thing, but the car stayed on the track. E.J. Viso crested the hill, clipped him. But then Will Power comes over the hill and makes heavy contact with the right side of Nelson Philippe's car. Absolutely incredible impact that tore up both cars.
Now 3 wide.
They just squeezed him. Sato just came
down
over
on Rossi.
Yeah, he just came down on top of Rossi and then swept everybody out. Oh, look at that.
Oh,
look at that.
man.
Up in the fence. So, very hard hit for Rosenquist. Very, very lucky.
Still under caution here at Michigan International. Here's what happened under caution. That is A.J. Foyt, the 4th, coming onto pit lane. Watch the right rear roll off the car. Fortunately, it headed in the positive direction, the best direction. You see some of the spotters scrambling, but fortunately that wheel did not hit anyone.
Well, you know, it's hard to know. This is the first time I've seen it. And he's walking straight into our car. You can see where the other car is. He's walked towards us on purpose. That's probably the most blatant thing I've seen in a long time. If you watch most pit guys, they try to get out of the way of other people.
Ah, no, le pega al muro y como... Wow.
Bobby out again, and Bobby going out he passed a car. What's he doing? Look at that, he's passed about half a dozen cars.
Oh, James, that's...
Under the yellow, you can't do that.
That is a no-no. He has accelerated probably in the haste of leaving the pit lane. He's certainly overtaken these other cars. I'm not sure why he did that. I know that you're certainly not supposed to do it. The regulations say that under yellow flag conditions, you must not pass any other cars, and that certainly has been the case here. He's certainly passed other cars.
For the 2nd race in a row, a helmet probably saved a Champ Car crewman's life. During a pit stop at Milwaukee on Sunday, Michael Andretti's car rolled over Ventman Ty Manceau. Remarkably, Manceau was treated and released at a Milwaukee hospital.
So the 19 car Davison is leaving his pit stall, and all three of the Dale Coyne racing cars involved as Davison collides with Pippa Mann and forces Davison's car into the pits of Vautier.
Now, it's worth saying that he didn't leave early. It's just that the valve didn't close. See, there, the fuel spills, and then it ignites right in the cockpit.
He knows right away. Get that. See how quick he got his wheel off?
And he also makes sure he got his visor down because he had his visor up during the stop.
That is probably where he may have gotten some flash burns.
Yeah.
But you're right, Jan. The fueler, he pulled out right, but that quick release valve, he's got a spring loaded. It's supposed to close as soon as possible, and it didn't, and there was all that ethanol spewing out.
Man.
Hits the headers and
He pulled out and pulled fairly wide as he came out to avoid that pit in front of him. And there came Michael with no place to go, hit the brakes. Fittipaldi didn't have much choice, though.
Well, there wasn't any choice. That was, in a way, an unavoidable accident. It's a serious accident. It almost got Michael on his head, but what would Fittipaldi do?
It was a second incident which brought the head slap. Watch here.
Well, exactly what's going on. The guys from Schechter's crew are trying to help push Marty's car back, and Marty starts to roll forward, runs over the crewman's foot, and I think he just took his frustration and anger just out on Marty.
Well, apparently he had an oil pressure warning alarm come on just as he was coming down the pit lane. Ed Nethman talking to him on the radio, very heads up, telling Christian, giving him a little advance warning there to start unstrapping and get out of that car.
Check this out. On Pablo Montoya.
Ooh,
you don't get any closer than that. You do not cut it any closer than that.
Johnson was in for a regular refuel, and then suddenly the car burst into flame, and now they have a fire that is burning all around the fuel tank in Herm Johnson's pit. We had some crew members suffering some slight injury. We don't have any indication as to their injury. It did not look as if Johnson was injured, but look at this tremendous fire as the entire pit goes up. They have been trying to fight it now for almost a minute. There was an explosion. An explosion as one of the tanks went. Apparently Herm Johnson's tank let go at the front. Now most of the people moved away, but an explosion in the pits as Herm Johnson's tank did catch fire. And a tire let go. We don't know if the explosion was the result of a tire or is the tank. The tank looks to be intact. Here it is from Bobby Rahaal's camera.
See, I got to tell you something. That's kind of a no-no, leaving that tire out there like that. He couldn't run over to push it out of his way.
She had been in the pits. She was leaving on cold tires.
As we watch J.R. Hildebrand, man.
What is going on? It's safer out of 220 miles per hour than it is on the pit lane.
And this is probably the reason. Immediately takes the front door.
I don't think he could have got it back without getting into the pit lane.
I don't think so. There's a wall there.
We have another angle of this incident in the pits. There is Kite pulling out. He makes contact with, I believe, Jarrett Schrader, and then Kite's car is thrown into some crew members who were working on other vehicles in the area.
Ed Carpenter. Rick, what's going on in the front of the car?
As you can see, there is a glove stuck on the adjustment for the wing. They've taken off. They were told by Indycars they had to come in, so they gave a little more fuel. Now the problem is he's got to get back out there as quickly as he can. Oh, they didn't get it. They weren't able to get it off. The question is whether it will, but apparently that was the replay. That was what happened earlier, but you can see now that they were actually able to get it off. The problem is they've moved back in the field.
Now watch the cars come out here. There goes Hornish. Here comes Greg Ray. And look, he just loses control there momentarily as he got on the gas.
So he's having trouble getting that thing revved up. He was having the bottom. Those guys, you know.
Now, right now, this is what we need to watch to see if he gets waved out by the right front man. Whether Thomas went on his own, the right front man is telling him stop, stop, stop. No, Thomas starts to leave on his own. He did not get waved out, and that is an error.
Crew's doing a magnificent job.
I think it started with Castroneves.
Let's watch
but
here.
He's out in that outside lane.
Where he's supposed to be.
Oh yeah. Well, I wasn't blaming him. I'm just saying when that tire touched him, that turned
Townsend Bell in.
First time on anger on the brakes coming into the pits. Remember, carbon fiber, sometimes they don't heat up equally. He locked up the rears, slammed into Tony Kanaan's crew. It looked bad. Fortunately, there were no serious injuries.
That was a frightening moment for all of us. Now watch this. This is Weldon. Look at the rear of the car. They did not get the fuel of the vent hose disconnected, literally pulled the tank over. There's the tear off. It first falls onto the side pod. Okay, and it's just going to lay there for a second until the car gets going. Now there's a small intake for the turbo. Watch it go into it. Gone. There it is. Gets sucked right into that turbo intake that is just ahead of the right rear suspension.
So Rossi comes out. And here comes Kimball. Car gets up in the air, and you see that left front just right over the cockpit.
Yep.
The cars are going in. They're changing from their rain tires to dry tires, and then they come out and they hit this puddle, and they float right on the surface of the puddle. Here a few seconds ago was Tom Gloy. Look at that. Now, as soon as it gets on the dry, he catches adhesion again and just barely keeps it off of the wall.
Oh, that was close.
He's not been the only one. Big Al came through there and did it. Almost everyone except for Steve, but there's Big Al.
Big Al right there. Now watch him.
Watch this. Hits the water. They literally float on top of that water.
What appeared to be an oil line come loose, and boy, it just put a puff of smoke over everybody.
He took on less fuel than Bourdais. Now it's a drag race. Tracy sees what's going on. Oh. Tracy had nowhere to go. Bourdais chops right across on top of him and just slices the front wing off Paul Tracy's car.
Watch him. He's going to lay the power down. He's drag racing Castro Neves, and he just over gooses it. Comes right across in front of Castro Neves, who then collects Sato, who was leaving out of the first pit stall.
Front right tire changer ready to go, and King just comes sliding awkwardly into his pit box.
He's still in pit lane, so it looks like he lost the tire in the pit lane. Whoa, watch out for that guy. But he wants to get back around, but it looks like...
Again, this is what happened. The wing just folded at the back of the car, and it sends Elio as a passenger into the wall.
Not very often you see that on a car whatsoever, especially on a car prepared by Penske.
There's Schuker's mirror. And watch Schuker's mirror. There it goes.
Wow.
Almost hit him on the right side, but it hit the cowling and kicked away.
Serbia comes off the final corner heading to 1 here.
Just breaks loose. Great reactions by the guys behind. You can see how quick Johnny reacted to that.
We are now under a yellow, and the reason for the yellow is a piece of debris out on the racetrack. And how did it get there? Well, Arie Luyendyk was going down the front straightaway. Now watch him. He was having trouble with the driver in front of him. Had to dart a couple ways to get by, and in his anger, he knocked out the headrest.
He didn't approve of Scott Sharp.
Let's listen in on the radio that we just captured from AJ.
My belt just came undone.
So you were right, Scott. It was the belt that came undone.
And you can't drive around here driving up 3.5, 4 Gs in every turn, Eddie. But that tells you that he just caught part of his sleeve or something on the one quick clasp.
And this was James Hinchcliffe. A very similar incident. Look at that. Was collected. And that debris.
His initial run on Sunday, he encountered a black garbage bag on the racetrack. Montoya was given another chance to qualify, but could do no better than 17th. Remember, though, 1 year ago, the Colombian won the race from the 15th starting position.
Billy Bode is into the pits because we understand one of the balloons that we saw that were released got into the radiator, so they had to obviously take that out. He won't really have time to get back in his spot, Paul.
We'll have some racing when they come around from this part of the circuit back onto the main straight. There's a hat, is it? Something caught on the wing there of Johansson's car. Yeah, it is a hat.
It is a hat.
And there is where Michael picked up his hat.
Well, it looks like it might have came out of the pace car, so some dolly in the pace car is not a real good friend of Michael at this point.
Or, if it's working for Allenzer Jr., maybe it's going to help Michael. They both have hats now attached to the left front nose wings of the car.
Oh,
look out. We got an issue for James Hinchcliffe as he has got a tire stuck up underneath.
Looks like, oh, you got a cone. You got a cone. That's all you got.
That's not a cone. That's a tire.
That's a tire. And the rules only 4 tires are allowed.
Yeah, that happens when you keep trying to cut short those curbs.
And it is on that wing plate there. He's going to have to make a stop. There's no way that's going to come off. See where James actually picks it up right there.
Well, he had no place to go, did he?
It is still difficult to see why Mario spun and hit the wall backwards with that left side. But then the incident happens behind him with Scott Goodyear and Michael.
Boy, as soon as Michael's right front touched Goodyear's left rear, right up in the air. Look at the tire as it goes over the top.
So we had reports earlier that part of the track was coming up over there in that complex, and when I said it didn't turn, I'm only assuming that that stuff there got into the steering somehow, some way, and that's why he could not turn.
And there is another piece right there in turn number 13.
And it makes me wonder if Sato might have got some of that in his steering mechanism, and maybe that's what caused him to also go into the wall, Marty.
And there's another section of this material. It's just not staying down.
Oh, and look at that. Look at the wall. There's a hole in the thing. Now, here's the question. You're watching Davey Hamilton.
Right in front of Davey.
Right in front.
Wow.
Next hard into the wall.
Wow.
Is that the tire with the hub carrier that came off? There had to be something else happen there.
Something on the right rear was left the car to cause it to get sideways. So that tire came off before he hit anything.
There you see Guzman crashed. The left front corner broke loose. The tire flew over the wall and into the lagoon, Lake Tacoma. But we had a City of Detroit scuba diver standing by who swam out and was able to stand up when he retrieved the tire.
He hit the protective barrier at the end of the pit wall.
Now, Bob, I have hit that, and as you can see, it really looks dramatic. But the one good thing, when you see the car impact that, that's a styrofoam barrier. Here we are with the camera right on the edge of that attenuator.
That's Davidson, who's going to finish in the second position. The black and white number 11 car. Quite a race. Oh, wait a minute.
Why did he come in the pits?
Wait a minute. He's coming to pits. And Davison is going to win the race. Davison is going to win the race.
What just happened?
Johnny Reed came in thinking the race was over. Johnny Reed was in the lead, coming off the final corner, came into the pits instead of staying on track and taking the checkered flag, and James Davison is going to win.
Through the final 2 corners, J.R. Hildebrand. Careful of traffic. He's got to get around the lap. Traffic. 100 years. No! He hit the wall. Just like Thomas Schechter. Keep your foot on the gas. Dan Weldon is going to win the race.
The Marlboro Challenge about to be decided in Laguna Seca. And for Rick Mears, $445,000 if he can just hold on. He climbs on the pit straight. He's out of fuel. He slows down. Michael Andretti comes around him. And Michael Andretti on the last straightaway picks up the race, the checkered flag, and the lead. What could possibly have happened to Rick Mears? A missed gear, a faltered fuel, who knows what it is?
Meanwhile, Tracy. That's the race leader, has lost the engine.
No.
Can you believe this?
Oh, no.
Within sight of the checkered
Just
flag.
coming up the hill.
There's Michael Andretti. There is the Penske pits. Roger Penske cannot believe what he is seeing, and perhaps neither can Michael Andretti, who takes the checkered flag of victory.
All right, let's take another look. Watching the back part of your screen, coming out of the corner. Right there is P.J. Chesson.
And it's sharp. Number 8, actually, the back end starts to come around. The other drivers react, and as you can see, everybody just starts to react from the situation. Simmons up over the back of the number 8 Delphi car, which has its wing knocked off.
The kart starter, there it is. The white flag is out. Rick Mears has less than a mile to go, and the Dana Rex Mays 200 will be his.
Sneva is down in turn number 1. There is Rick now at the end of the backstretch. He made up 2 seconds.
And Rick is broken. He is broken.
Is slowing dramatically in turn number 3.
This could be side by side.
I still don't think Tom is going to win it. And Rick, yes, Rick is slowing. Rick is slowing. He's coming into the pits. And Tom Sneva is going to win the race on the last lap. There's a checkered. Sneva wins.
Can you believe it? Can you believe it? He's
Rick
going to
Mears
finish.
here crossing the start-finish line. There is no power in that car. Unbelievable.
On to the strand. How much throttle can... And Gugelmin slows. Blundell bursts into the lead as his teammate slows out of fuel. And now Greg Moore has a decision to make. I could have passed him for second. Can I pass him for my second consecutive lead? Bruce McCaw and the team looking on. It's all in the hands of Mark Blundell.
He's only got 2 corners to go.
Blundell in the middle of the racetrack. Defensive position. Michael Andretti doing the same in what is now third place. And Blundell slows. Moore is in the lead. Blundell is out of fuel. And it has all come apart for the PacWest teammates. Victory. Second straight win for Greg Moore.
It appears as if he is going to make it. He's in corner number 9, the final corner on the racetrack. He comes off the 9th corner. The car is a little slow coming off the corner. He's out of fuel. He is out of fuel, dropping to the inside. And here comes the finish line. Who's going to win it? I think it's impossible to say at this point who won the race. It's the closest IndyCar finish in history. Make that 7/100ths of a second. Mario wins over Michael.
We're taking a little look at what actually happened. Now look at these two. They were going around celebrating together. Mark was dutifully behind. They tangled, and then round went Jimmy Vasser.
This is what happened after the checkered flag. This is down the straightaway heading for turn 3. That's Marias getting into the 13 of EJ Vizo.
The thing that's...
Watch what happens here, Steve.
This was earlier with Sebastian Bourdais. Oops! There goes that lovely crystal trophy.
Watch this face.
Oh, I've just had the best day in a long time, and now that happened.
Well, I think we saw yet another fantastic race from the Milwaukee Mile. Will Power was absolutely dominant all weekend. And yeah, a good run from Montoya, but everybody had so much trouble with those tires going off, and Will Power drove through it all absolutely impeccable.
So Max Papis bringing hero Matsushita back to the pits, and obviously a disappointment for Matsushita not to quite finish off the race.
AJ just about coughing up all his reputation. I think I see Vince McMahon in there.
It would not surprise me if some of the guys at the front of the order who are worried about that lack of grip might use either their first warm-up laps or their whole first run to wipe ass car rubber off of the track.
Yes, exactly.